That's another thing I want to add to. Two things. One, last week when we talked about the natural order of the UCAT of the Christian way, the UCAT is just a book that breaks down Catholicism for children. But that and where I stand as a mouthpiece, as a head minister for the academy, as far as my contempt and compassion for our opposition, for our enemies. So we'll start with the natural order. We'll keep this as brief as possible. The natural order wants us, when I say the natural order, I'm talking about the natural order that the Christian church believes in, which is man should be with woman, and homosexuality was never really classified as a thing. It wasn't frowned upon nor criminalized. It was just somewhere in limbo, in between. I'm only using that as an example because that's one of the best two examples there are. That their natural order, sex before marriage as well. The natural order that they believe in, it believes in that. It's just a higher It's just a higher standard, in my eyes. But it's not really human. It's an idealized way of living, which in my mind is beautiful. And I did think about doing those things several times. I did think about living that way several times, but again, it's just not for me. And the left-hand path is more of a DIY sort of lifestyle. You kind of just mix and match the pieces that make sense to you philosophically, emotionally, sexually, right? And that's fun. That's great. And there's no need to feel sorry, regret, guilt, whatever. But the left-hand path doesn't idolize that way of living because it's not realistic to us. It's not natural to us. What's natural to us is our impulses, right? But of course, we gotta have spirit over matter, like Levy talked about. Levy talked about spirit over matter and matter over spirit. Funny enough, the inverted pentagram means matter over spirit because of the two horns up, matter over spirit, two horns down, spirit over matter. So ironically, what we believe in as Satanists is not the inverted pentagram, but we have a way of twisting things, and I won't go into that. But to me, the inverted pentagram is just kind of like a symbol that reminds me of how to live. It says spirit over matter, but I don't really live that way, right? So let's go into. Sorry, my wife keeps calling me. Be back with you in a minute, baby girl. We talked about the natural order. Now we're gonna get into. Let's see. She totally threw off where I was going. Oh. Contempt versus compassion. You'll see that I have a general amount of respect for the church, for the Christian church. It's primarily because I understand what it's trying to do. I do. And we both know that it doesn't always succeed at that. And we both know that certain people fuck that up. We know certain pastors, certain men, women, and young adults fuck this up completely. But what mainly fucks it up is not because it's a mixture of things. It's the fact that the Old Testament was so noteworthy of bullshit and crime and violence, and they have the gall to say that the Bible in its entirety, history and all, is perfect. And that's where I was talking about revisions of the right hand path need to come in if I were to ever think about getting back into it. But another topic, I understand what it's trying to do, but it's operating like a two-headed hydra. In one hand, it spits in your face, and in the other, it kisses you. It's like, make up your fucking mind, you know? I understand what it's trying to do, a majority of the part. And why I keep saying that is because a lot of people that agree with the Bible only agree with the one head, with the one side of its head that kisses you. Okay, beautiful. So then apply that everywhere. You know, rip out the Old Testament and burn it and completely revise it or don't acknowledge it. You know, live the way Jesus did, but at the same time, I might, you know, kind of give him credit for going through some shit and suffering and dying. From what I understand, and I gotta do my research, hell didn't come about until he did. That's a problem with me. But again, I gotta do my research. I'm gonna study that this week and see if that's true. But if you're not, I encourage you to as well. But anyway, contempt versus compassion, right? I understand what it's trying to do, and I understand what the majority of the masses in society is trying to have. They're trying to have that organization. They're trying to have that fucking role model. Honorable, right? But you gotta pick, man. You gotta pick the Bible in its entirety or the values and the morals it claims to have. The values and morals it claims to have, or the Bible in its entirety, right? And that's the problem I have. That's where my contempt comes from. My anger comes from. People trying to have it all, can't have it all. And trying to also find archaeological evidence for the Messiah and things like that that can be disproved. We don't try to do that. As a theistic organization, we don't try to do that. Our devotion doesn't have faith in the middle like that. We don't operate on faith. We operate on devotion and belief and principles and values. Our love and devotion for Satan doesn't operate on faith. It doesn't require a day where he's going to come. It doesn't require a day where he's going to give us $1 million or anything like that. It's purely because of the example he set out and the consistencies within his works, within his ministers in the past, LaVey, Reverend Kane, Gilmore, all those people, consistent as ever. The teachings are consistent. There's no Old Testament bullshit where Satan commands and gives us divine authority to pillage and burn people. It doesn't do none of that. And that's the issue that I have, you know, with the church. But otherwise, I understand what people want. I understand what it's trying to do, but it's failing miserably.